Hello everyone, it's Thomas Jujube, and here is the special video that I have been talking about for a while now. Welcome to the Talking Jujube Podcast, a podcast where I talk about the most recent episodes of Kamen Rider, Transformers, Super Sentai, and Power Rangers. Since all of these are kind of crazy in some way, Jujube refers to the fact that I'm talking some crazy things here. So I'll try to do this weekly, and I'll add Transformers Cyberverse when it comes out, and maybe any news as well if it's easier for me. So let's get to Lupin versus PATO Ranger, since that's a brand new thing. Wow, so Lupin versus Pat, this first episode was really well done, and it was a lot of fun for me. So we start with the casino, and everyone's gambling, everyone was gambling. It was very calm. I quite like that. And then when the Lupins enter, they're just so blunt. They just smash through the window. And I like that cool shot that we got where the shard comes through and you see their eyes. That was a cool opening for them. And then they come in, they reveal the monster. Just one weird thing, the grunts are called portermen. That sounds really weird to me. And then I like how when they're out of suit, I don't really feel like they're fighting because the music didn't really make it seem like an action scene. They're just kind of jumping around, shooting everyone, and the music made it seem like they're, I don't know, having fun. And the Lupins are just really fun in general, so that's cool. And then we switch to the police really quickly, and they feel like that was a huge tone shift. Like, we have the music playing, and then there's the explosion, and all of a sudden we just switch to the police. There's no music, it's like all serious, they're like getting ready. And then we switch back to the Lupins, and they're already morphed. So we have basically what happened in Build. We have a pre-established Sentai, and I haven't been watching Sentai for that long, so I don't know if we've had pre-established Sentais before, but I know that we almost never have like pre-established Power Ranger teams. So this is really new for me, so that was really cool. And then when they're just jumping around, shooting everything, it felt like they maybe trained in gymnastics or something, because they're just jumping around. And the capes add a really fun element, like you see when they do their final attack, they like blow away from like the explosion. So that was really cool. And then it was cool to see that they summoned just the mech kind of just out of nowhere to escape, and they used the mech as an escape. So that was cool. And then the weird French that they use occasionally, like adieu or bonjour. I don't know why. I think Arsène Lupin was French, so that's why they have French. And then we get the character introduction. So the Lupin Red actually seems he seems fun, like the fun character, and he's not annoying. Like, I'll just say this now, when he seems serious for what was supposed to be, I guess, like a fun character. Like, he seems like he can be serious because he sacrificed his friends because he was going by the promise that they made. So that's really cool to see. And then Ichi, I don't know a lot of everyone's names. Ichi just seems like really like over the top. Like, I don't have a problem with him, but he doesn't seem like kind of serious. He seems like he has like a lot of anger issues. So I don't know, maybe we'll see that like resolved throughout the series. Lupin Yellow is just so like she's a lot more fun. She's kind of like, a reservation. And like that scene where Blue kind of throws the dust in the air, and then she just like claps, like that was really, she's just so funny. And then Green for the PATO Rangers was Inigo. He's less like the comic relief. I guess it's cool to see that we have like a fun kind of character. He doesn't seem like to take the police jobs so seriously, which I guess is cool. And then Blue and Pink, they're not really they're just kind of there in this episode. I mean, they have their parts, but there's not a whole lot to them. And then Hilltop and Jim Carter, I think is his name, they're just kind of there too. So, you know. And then I'm calling it right now here, the Lupin collection, once they collect all of it, I'm calling it right now that they will get the final forms, the red forms, or the final Zords. They're gonna get that from the Lupin collection. I'm calling it right here. And I'm also calling that the Lupin collection will occasionally give Zords, because it seems to, like, if every episode they're going to be collecting a new piece, that seems like a perfect formula to get more Zords to sell toys, but keep it part of the story, right? So that's gonna give some more toys, calling it right now. The Butler character is very mysterious, and I want to know why Lupins are working with him. Red said something about, like, a promise, so I don't think it's like their record will be cleared like in every Fast and Furious film, because they seem to, like, enjoy being thieves. So maybe, I don't know, something to do with, like, a family. The villains are just kind of weird. Their designs are all pretty cool. The main guy, when he says, I'm giving up my top position and it's up for grabs, that feels a lot like Galvanax from Ninja Steel, where he was like, whoever wins this battle gets to pull the star, or whoever wins gets to become the new champion, you know? It feels like Ninja Steel in that respect. And the villains are they're just there. I like how all of them have a safe on them to keep part of the Lupin collection and kind of go with that Lupin thief theme. So, like, every time they defeat a monster, they had to get the collection, and you're still stealing, but they're doing the right thing by stealing. You know what I mean? That's kind of cool to, like, make that work around. And then the collection being used as a power-up in the safe is also pretty cool, and I guess it's a cool way to have each monster have a different ability. And I want to see maybe if they'll toss around the Lupin collection every once in a while. I mean, maybe one episode we have a guy with this thing that gives him one power, and then the Rangers defeat him, but then he gives this piece of the collection to someone else, so they have the same ability. That would be kind of cool to see. The restaurant, like them having a restaurant base, that feels very like Power Rangers, or kind of like Kamen Rider builds Cafe Nasita, like, done right, because it's an actual cafe, and they're like, oh, come on everybody, leave, and then we get Yellow as like a little kid again, like, oh, reservation, oh, okay. And then I like that the dial fighters are kind of, they'll use them to, like, you've seen them used to open the safe, but you also see them to just open the door, so I guess they're like the ultimate hacking device. I also said this when I went over the trailer, I love the verse changers and sounds for the Lupin Rangers. It sounds so charismatic, like red, blue, yellow, 010. Like, it's so charismatic. And then when it says Lupin Ranger, I'm not gonna say that. I can't go that high, but that's just such a cool noise. I love the Lupin side of the verse changer. And also, when they summon this Zord earlier, it plays the MLG horn, like do 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 do. Like, that's perfect. And the henshin, I guess here it's not a henshin, is it? It's morph, but whatever. It's so elegant. Like, and then the top hat comes, forms the helmet, and they get a little bow. I never noticed that bow, so that's really cool. And then I like the roll call too, and they just poof, they're in Moscow, or I think that's Moscow, whatever. They're like on the city skyline. That's really cool. I just wish maybe there's a little something more going on, because they're just kind of like Lupin red, Lupin blue. Maybe it's the first episode. Maybe they'll do more later. The last fight scene is just a lot of fun. There's a lot of, like, spinning too, like, not just from the Lupin Rangers. Like, the camera's like moving. I remember one specific, like, a continuous shot. Like, we do a 360 around the Rangers, and we, like, zoom in and then kind of, like, turn around. That was a really cool shot, and I hope the rest of the series has stuff like that. And then the PATO Rangers transforming are the cliffhanger, and that's awesome. And that's probably my favorite part of this episode. The fact that we've centered on the Lupin Rangers in this episode. We have the PATO Rangers in it, but it's mostly a Lupin Ranger episode. This feels like the start of one Sentai. So I hope next episode we are not going to focus on the Lupin Rangers as much. I know they're getting the mech next week, but I hope that maybe we don't focus on them as much, and instead we're going to focus on the PATO Rangers. And then in the third episode, maybe then we'll have some, like, dual focus. And I kind of hope the rest of the series, or most of the series, is like this, where one episode we're focusing on the Lupin Rangers, so it's like a Lupin Ranger episode, but the PATO Rangers are still in it because they're in the series too. And then in a later episode, we'll focus on the PATO Rangers, and the Lupin Rangers are still in it. So kind of we have this shifting focus, so that we kind of get like enough of both teams where you're satisfied, so we're not kind of like juggling both teams in an episode. But anyway, and then we get the preview for next week, and then also, if you remember, I said in my trailer breakdown, not breakdown, but I said I hope that we got a mecha v mecha fight, and then we don't see PATO Kaiser, the PATO Rangers Megazord. We don't see that in the preview, but we do see like the Red Dial Fighter versus the Trigger Machine 1. So that's kind of like what I asked for. So I'm very excited for that. So overall, I really enjoyed this first episode, and I'm looking forward to the next episode and what the rest of the series may offer. Wow. So what episode are we on of Build? Are we on? I think we're on 21, right? Anyway, this episode was actually really, really cool. I liked it a lot. In the beginning, I was really confused about who was narrating the whole thing because I didn't recognize that voice. And then, who was it? Banjo came in. Ryuga came in and was like, "Why are you narrating?" And then they showed Bloodstock, and I was like, "It's Bloodstock?" That was really funny. I don't know how he can get into wherever they record those intros. But anyway, there was some weird staring in the beginning of the fight, and I thought of Careless Whisper, because I always do. But anyway, the henshins in the beginning were so cool, where we have them like right next to the edge, kind of showing, I don't know if that was like symbolic, how they're like very close to like losing themselves in this fight. Since I haven't really reviewed Build much, I just want to say this now. I really love the intro. It's really great. It sounds really cool. I like the visuals that we get. So anyway, when we get the night before scene, that was really cool, and then we see Banjo, Ryuga, I don't know what they call him, Ryuga or Banjo. I'm gonna call him Cross because I love the suit. Anyway, we see Cross and Build like arguing, Cross saying, you can't do it, and then they're having some back and forth, and then he goes, "Take your banana." That was funny because that one scene where he's like, "Oh, you're a monkey." I think the trigger, not the hazard trigger, the button thing that was used to destroy the trigger, or was supposed to be used to destroy the trigger, was that from the YouTube special? Someone please tell me. I've not seen the YouTube special, and I don't know where I can watch it. So either link the special to me or tell me if that's from it, because I have not seen it yet. When Build pulls out all the bottles, or he starts spamming the forms, I really like that form spam. That was really cool. And then when they go, "Oh no," and then Grease looks at the camera and goes, "Must have been stuck." That was funny. Like, I haven't seen Decade, but I think it was like Onore Decado. Like, must have been stuck. Someone get that trending. Oh yeah, so I don't know, what was that? I didn't really understand that scene they had with Grease in the pipe. Like he was doing the same thing, the Hokuto. Was that, I think that was meant to, now that I think of it, I think that was meant to be when he first took in Nebula gas to become Grease. Now that I think of it, I first thought it was when he was upgrading himself, or like becoming more powerful for this fight. I think now that I think of it, it might be when he was first becoming a Kamen Rider. And when we got all those flashbacks, I thought to myself, Grease dies today, and he didn't, so I'm surprised. When the crazy Hokuto lady, you know where that's from, when she was like, "Oh, who cares if we lose this fight? I have all the troops waiting." I was like, whoa, there, that seems illegal. It's a war. I don't know, but that seemed kind of like, wow, like this woman is crazy. Like she's gonna do that if she wins. Like, talk about a sore loser, am I right? Anyway, Grease kept yelling. Grease also sounded crazy. Maybe everyone from Hokuto is crazy, because he was like yelling a lot, and I kept thinking of Parrot from XA, where he's like, "My heart's burning," and Grease is like, "I'm burning." Anyway, I kept thinking, just a weird thing. The trigger, not the hazard trigger. I already said that. The trigger for the kill Build and the hazard trigger. The little bottle switch thing. Why is it a bottle? Again, I haven't seen the YouTube special. Maybe they explain that in the YouTube special. But why is it a bottle? like, you clearly see the rails on the back for it to go into a driver. Why is it a bottle? The Sento just had, what Kasumi have just a weird, or Katsuragi, I'm sorry. The Katsuragi just have a weird obsession with bottles. That's why there's bottles. And then that carried over to Sento, so Sento made his kill switch a bottle. I'm sorry, that's a weird tangent thing. And then he goes into hazard form, and I love the hazard form. It was probably my favorite form up until we saw Cross something for Cross the other day. So yep, there you have that. So that CG spin they did around, it was CG, and you could tell, oh, that's not too good. But I don't care. That spin that they did around him, that was awesome. And everyone's kind of like, oh no, like everyone's quiet. And then I like that we just randomly have Hawk Gatling instead of Rabbit Tank. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not complaining. That was cool. We get the Hawk Gatlinger, so I can like, hey, look, I have that. And then when Ryuga comes and he stops Build, and then he has that fight, that they had like a short fight there. And then they didn't really explain, like he has the lightning and is like forming in his hand, and he stabs himself with lightning, and that doesn't even make sense. But that's because that scene didn't really make sense. He just kind of like, and he's like, I'm all better now, and I'm like, brilliant. I don't know what you did, but I mean, it was so cool. And then when I heard Cross Dragon, I was like, oh yes, are we going back to the normal Cross suit? And then he put it in the gun. Well, man. And then they came back, and then Misora started crying, and it just made it feel like they're a family. Like, who is it? Sento, Ryuga, Misora, and Sawa. They all kind of feel like a family. So that's really nice. And then Hokuto lady is like, oh, calling the strike. Stock's like, no. I need to excuse me. And then the troops come in, and then I was like, red, yay, on those troops. And then he's like, oh, I was never on your side. And I was like, wow, Stock, you are an absolute snake. Oh, I get it now. I'm sorry. And then when he's in the chair, it's like when Night Rogue was in that like big fluffy chair, and he's like just spinning around in this like chair, and I'm like, it's like you don't normally see those suits just like casually sitting down in chairs like, hello everybody, how are you doing? So that was really funny. And then Rogue came in, and I mean, they didn't really do much with Rogue. He just walked in, and they were like, ladies and gentlemen, presenting Sato's Kamen Rider. But it was still really cool. I mean, I like the Rogue suit. I haven't really commented on that much. I like it. I feel like there's something better they could have done with it, but whatever, it's cool. And we see the preview, and now I think Grease will die next week, because they're probably gonna kill him. Don't lie. You know they're gonna kill him at some point in the series. And we're getting the Kaisers too, so it's like the YouTube special doesn't really feel like as much as a special story, as much as like it feels like just a sneak preview, if you know what I mean. So yeah, why do I sound disappointed? I really liked this episode, and I'm pretty excited for next week. I'm just disappointed next week doesn't seem to have that much Rogue when he was in this episode as like the cliffhanger. But anyway, I like this episode. There were kind of those weird parts, but I like this episode. It was great. And yeah. Now, Ninja Steel this week wasn't actually too terrible. I actually quite liked it in last week's episode as well. It was cool to see Odious is the reason for this episode with her magic. I thought that was kind of interesting to see, since Galvanax wasn't really the reason for anything other than sending monsters down. When Victor and Monty showed up at the beginning, I was kind of like, oh no. But I feel like they're getting better. But that's probably because at this point, I'm just expecting like more farts. So anything I guess is better than that. The singing between Levi and the girl was a sweet moment. And the one Basherbot, whatever they're called. I like how there's just like that one who just left to attack them. That was funny for me. And then when, what was her name? Jess, the girl Levi liked, when she changed into a monster, that really, I'm gonna be honest, that actually really surprised me. I wasn't expecting her to be a monster. And that's probably because I liked the way her and Levi were acting with each other. So, I don't know, that really surprised me. Monty is a witch. Don't argue with me. He put a boot. What did he put? He put like a boot, some brushes, maybe a hat. I'm sure he put a hat in. And then to make this perfume, and thought it would be good. Sure. When Levi and Jess go out on a date, or it was a date. Don't lie. I like that. She's like, oh, why don't you put this on? Why don't you put this on? Like, very suspicious. Levi's like, I don't know. And she's like, changes the spice of life. And he's like, alright, come on, Levi, you just met this girl. Or Aiden, whatever he's called. Come on, you just met this girl, and you're really, like, kind of changing yourself that much? I mean, it's just for the day, maybe, probably. And then she's like, oh, why don't you sing this song? I don't know, this is pretty different from what I sing. But, come on, changes the spice of life. I mean, Levi's already famous for singing country music. So, like, if I forgot everything that I sing about, if I forgot everything that I talk about on this channel, I forget Transformers, Power Rangers, Sentai, Rider, all that, and then let's say I just started doing Marvel, which isn't bad, Star Wars, isn't bad. Let's just say I did Marvel and Star Wars, I'd probably lose, I wouldn't lose a lot of subscribers, but I'm not here to talk about that. So Levi is famous for country, and it's like, oh yeah, like if you start singing maybe rap songs, or whatever the song was supposed to be, And then we get to see the Rangers training, and that was actually pretty cool, because I feel like they kind of maybe heard people like, oh, I like the training modes, and I like seeing them act as ninjas in training, so we get to see them act as ninjas in training within 3 episodes of the season, so yeah, that's cool. I like the lesson that they're giving in this episode. I know they kind of they bring it up a little quick here, but then they come back to it at the end. But I'm just going to talk about now. I liked the lesson that they had, which is don't change yourself just because someone else wants you to change. That was a nice lesson for kids. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the last line of the song was Nimpo Kinji, which is like, I know 100%, I think that line is a reference to Ninja, because Nimpo is like technique, Kinji is the Gold Ranger, so like Kinji technique. I know that is a Ninja reference, but I'm not sure if that whole song was a reference, because I saw something about that, so let me know down below. And then when you're like, oh no, they're gonna start the song, and then Victor and Monty show up, come on now, or no, after they finish the song, and they show up. Did you have to undercut that moment? It's alright, it didn't last too long. Brody didn't really show any conflict, like when Aiden turned, Levi turned, whatever. He was just kind of like, oh no, and then he morphs. I was like, that's your brother right there. I mean, I guess you didn't grow up with him, but that's your blood relative. And then, but I guess it was kind of cool to see. He's like, oh, he won't change. We need to fight him now. I guess he's kind of like, we know we need to fight him because he's not changing right now. We need to wait for the lyrics to come. So I guess that was cool. But then later he also still tries to do that. He's like, I'm your brother, come on. And then Levi's like, I'm not your brother, which is his voice changes too when he turns evil, which I guess is kind of cool. But then I actually liked how fast it would have been cool to see it last longer, but I don't think they had the footage for that. But it was actually kind of cool they didn't have to go through the whole, remember us, Levi, remember we're your friends, I'm your brother. They just did the spell and it worked. That was cool to see. This is just a weird thing I liked. When, I forget, it was one of the girls, they were like, your girlfriend is a monster. Whoa. Levi was like, whoa, okay. That was funny. I didn't review last week's episode, so Super Seal debuted there. I actually really like the Super Seal form. I kind of like that we have a change in the visors, because we don't really see that too often, so it's kind of cool to see that's changed. I also like the little continuity that we had where Brody has a cannon and he goes, wow, this is epic. I don't normally like when he says that, but because he didn't use it last week, I think it was Calvin who used it last week, this is his first time using the cannon, so it was kind of cool to see his reaction, like, whoa, this is big, or I don't know. And then that moment at the end, I mean, they have the lesson of the day, they come back to it, which is nice. I already said this, I like the lesson of the day. And then that person comes in and goes, Victor's coming! that was like Saban's letter to the Power Rangers fandom. Like, oh yes, we know you don't like Victor and Monty, so we're gonna accept that. They're not changing it at all, probably. And then this is just a weird nitpick that I'm gonna end this on. They keep reusing that commercial at the end of every episode. When Odious returns, super, that, I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. Why do we keep using that commercial? I mean, they already know Odious is back. They already have their powers. Whatever. I'm being weird. So overall, I didn't hate this episode. I wouldn't say I loved it. I guess I was just in between. I liked it. I don't hate it. I thought it was just pretty solid. So those are my thoughts on Super Ninja Steel episode 3. So those were my thoughts on Lupin Ranger versus PATO Ranger episode 1, Build episode 22, and Super Ninja Steel episode 3. Please let me know down below in the comment section what you thought of any of these episodes, whether or not you loved them, hated them, or somewhere in between. And I will see you next time, where we will cover the next episodes in each of these series. Thank you for watching.